Hey, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
We're here. That was surprising. That was a surprising start. I wasn't ready for some reason, despite saying I was ready. I wasn't. Welcome to Hang Outlander. Watching. If you aren't watching and you're just listening, hello. I'm Beth. I'm ready for That's Normal, and I'm on pain medication tonight because I cut my hand open today trying to get an avocado pit out. Are they pits or seeds? Somebody outsplain if you call an avocado the thing on the inside a pit or a seed. I think it's a seed. Anyway.
It's a seed.
Anyway,
I used to call
I
it
thought it was a
nut.
pit.
I thought it was a nut. My bad.
A nut?
Yeah.
The avocado nut? That's gross.
I know, it just sounded dirty. That's why I did it.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, my knife slipped off of it, and I got wounded. So I have a little bit of stuff in my system tonight. So and I actually feel pretty bad. So I hope we're just gonna have a good night and not a bad one because I don't feel very good. But we're here talking about Outlander, episode 8. Was it called The Fox's Lair? Is that the name of the title of the episode? Okay. Good for me. I have a story about a fox that happened this week. I'm going to tell you that later. Everybody else say hi to your drinking. I'm having a beer. We have Kyle with us tonight from Hypable. Kyle, say hello.
Hello. I am not drinking anything for the first Hang Outlander ever because I'm about to go to a bar after this and I want to be able to drive there first. So.
Well, I'm glad that we are your pregame, even though you're not pregaming.
Yeah. You're my emotional pregame. Like, I got to get into it and then get the confusion out of my head, and then I'll be good for the night.
Okay. All right. I believe that. Tiff, say hi.
Hi, I'm Tiffany. I write for That's Normal, and I'm drinking water because it's 100 degrees here.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yesterday was only 70, and I was like, this is bullshit. Because I wanted to be in the pool all day yesterday, but our pool was like 75 degrees. And then I get up to go to work today, and it was like 100 degrees. So.
I don't understand. You're in Washington State. How is it 100 degrees
Yeah, I
there?
live in the desert. I live in Eastern Washington.
I always
I don't
think
know.
all of Washington is like Forks or Seattle or
Yeah.
Green Verdant.
We have 300 days of sunshine here, and our average summer temperature is like 103 degrees. It's like super hot here.
Wow. I didn't realize that. I mean, I think our high today was like 77.
Yeah, we were really warm today. I had to do a library tour with like 150 third graders, and they walked from the school to the library, and they smelled so bad.
That's an age. That's the perfect age for like kids that should be wearing deodorant, but they don't know they should yet, and so they all smell bad. Oh, that's terrible. I'm sorry. Well, who knew? I thought Washington State was just one big Pacific Northwest, so it's not.
No.
All right. Okay. Nikki, say hi. Who said hi yet?
Hi guys, I'm Nikki. I write and own That's Normal, and I'm water because I'm on a lot of some sort of allergy medicine that decided to hit me over the weekend for Memorial Day. So I'm drinking water, and it's not warm here. It's very lovely because it's Southern California in almost June. June gloom.
Almost June. So, Kyle, we have a couple of people who you weren't with us a couple weeks ago, and we had Laura also from Hypable on, and you had an audition. Everyone wants to know how it went.
It went really well.
Good.
It was kind of long, which is why I couldn't make it, and then I haven't heard back yet, so fingers crossed.
Everybody, just say a quick little prayer for Kyle and his audition.
Thank you. Watch them. They're going to call while I'm in Europe, and I'm going to be like, no.
Well, that'll be, I mean, either way. If it's bad news, you're in Europe. So what do you care?
Yeah, that's
and if
true.
it's good news, you know, you can be like, well, it's wonderful. I'll see you when I get back to the States.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it'll be good. Either way. Kyle's going to see The Cursed Child.
Yes, I am.
Ooh.
I'm seeing the first showing of it on June 7th.
Is that like a pre-screen, or is it like the opening
So
night?
previews, and it's the previews to get ready for the grand opening on July 31st. So we're going to the very first time that they're performing it in public, which is going to be really interesting.
That is amazing. I'm so jealous and so excited for you.
I know, I'm very excited.
Are you allowed to put spoilers out there? Like, can you tell us what it's about before people
we're
get the
definitely
script?
I think we're gonna review it for sure, and then.
Okay.
Yes. You can tweet me all about it, and then I'll be like, ah.
Here's my biggest question: is it the cursed child or the cursed child?
I think it's the cursed child. I think. Pretty sure.
To be cursed, and I tweeted that to J.K. Rowling, and she did not reply. Not that I expected her to.
How dare she?
I think
I
it should
just
be
tweeted
cursed.
the cursed, so we'll see.
Well, it's spelled the same, right? Does cursed have to have an accent mark on it?
No.
No. Anyway, let's talk about Outlander.
Pronunciation.
Yeah.
I could probably talk a lot longer about things that are not Outlander, but we actually have to do that. So, yay, Outlander! All right, this is a big episode. It's a big episode because there was a lot of chit-chat online about it being a terrible episode, or the episode in which it was going to jump the shark, per Diana. And personally, for me, it did not do that. If I were going to give a one-sentence summary of this episode, I would say, hooray, this was an hour of television versus an hour of, like, laborious book adaptation. But I am alone in my good opinion. So what did you guys think? What's, like, your one-sentence summary? Or good, bad, jump the shark, what?
My one-sentence summary would be Diana doesn't know what jump the shark means, because I didn't see anything that was out of character for this show. Like, Jamie, like, no one was doing anything wild and crazy, which is what jump the shark means. So, I don't know. Don't know. I'm confused by you, Diana. I'm confused by the fandom. But it was just another hour of Outlander to me. Nothing was... I was confused, and then Jamie had different haircuts. That's what my one is.
Yes, that was true.
The weird thing is like people are talking about how it like diverted from the book so much, but it felt the most Outlander-ish to me. Like I got the feeling that I was reading the book. The same feeling from, like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Even though some things were changed, it felt the most Outlander-ish to me so far this season.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. It felt exactly like how it is when you read the books.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like a return to season 1. Those characters, how they told this story. Maybe that's just being back in Scotland, but I totally agree with you.
Yeah, it felt more like I noticed it first during the intro. I was so excited too, guys, because I was watching the show and my captions were on for the first time because someone put them on last night. And I was like, oh, I get to see the words to the song because I don't know the words to the song. I'm just like, da, 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 and so I was like super stoked. And then I was waiting for the French part, and I was like, they didn't have a French part of the intro, and I was like, what? But it did feel very much like season 1, cinematically too. Just felt different.
Yeah. And I mean, there's something about seeing, we'll talk about that a little bit, because when Jamie and Claire are together and happy, that's how it feels when you're reading the books. Like, even when they're having, like, drama, and even if they're not on the same page, what you saw in this episode when they're horseback riding, and when he's sitting on the table with the potatoes, and when they're talking at night in their room, they like 3 times where they're just together in the room at night, like chit-chatting and then making out. That's 100% what the book is like. Like, they do something during the day on a horse outside, or maybe in a castle, and then they come in and they fuck. And then they go back outside and they get on a horse and they come back in and they get naked. And that's what the book is like. And so that's what it felt like, and I was totally into it. It made it, for me, it was easily my favorite episode of the season. Like, as an episode of TV.
It was your favorite episode of the season so far?
I think, like,
really?
it really, like, just felt like a show I was watching. I mean, and I I say that as a book fan, not wanting it to just give me all the little Easter eggs that I love about the book.
Yeah.
So if I'm just watching a show, it felt like I was watching Black Sails or even, Game of Thrones or Turn or something like that. Because you're really good period drama, an hour of television. That's how it felt to me. It did not feel like I was having to pull from my knowledge of the book to like it. It didn't feel like I was having to pull from my knowledge of the book to understand what was going on. I got it. It worked as an hour of TV, and I was totally down with it.
I felt like Jamie was like the most Jamie-ish he has been all season too.
Yes.
And maybe that's because he's back in Scotland, but like when I snapped it and I couldn't, when I was getting so excited snapping it because I'm like, he is so Jamie right now. This is like finally I see it, and I haven't really seen it all season.
That's what some of the folks who are tweeting tonight said. Anna said, "Oh, we got to see Jamp again," and Joanna said, "Oh, this is so on point with the book." So I think people were feeling the same way as us.
Let's talk about that sex scene, though, because I saw a lot of people complaining about that. Like, why are we losing Jamie and Claire's connection after they just lost a baby, and then all of a sudden they're happy? Why can't we see them have sex to reconnect? This was honestly my favorite sex scene, maybe of the whole series. Maybe not. Maybe the wedding. The wedding is good, too. But I loved it because it just, that fade out, and I know we've been talking about fade to black, was so perfectly shot. It looked so good. He looked amazing. Mm-hmm. Like the light behind him, and then the light faded out, and he's like silhouetted for a minute. It's just his chest. Oh my God! How can anybody be upset about that sex scene? It was great, and we didn't have to put up with Sam's weird thrust pattern, which I'm totally not down with anymore. Like, I'm so sick of the way he thrusts. And there was no like asthmatic faces. Guys, this was the best sex scene in a long time. I'm all for the fade to sad.
Can you go back and explain his thrusting pattern and how that's off?
Yeah, is this a new term for me? A thrusting pattern?
No, it shouldn't be. Come on, his thrusts are weird. There's no roll to his hips. He's all upper body. He's all upper body. No roll, no hip roll.
If I wasn't sitting down right now, I'd be like, was it like this? And then
I would just. If I wasn't wearing sweatpants, I would just show you right now what I mean. I don't know. He's awkward to me a lot of the time. Don't you guys think it looks like he's doing like push-ups instead of what he's supposed to be doing?
I don't think I've analyzed it that intensely.
Yeah, I don't know if any of us have really looked at the rhythm of his thrusts.
We will take your GIFs, though, if you'd like to tweet us, though, so that we can have an instant replay.
Hashtag thrust rhythm.
Yeah, thrust pattern.
Thrust pattern.
Mm-hmm. It was a good sex scene. Were you guys disappointed? Do you think you should have seen more?
It wasn't a sex scene. It was a foreplay scene.
It was a love scene. It was a love scene.
Yes, it was love. Yeah. I liked it. I liked it. I thought it was beautifully shot. He didn't have scars on his back, though.
Yes,
you can see
got a lot of comments about that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Whatever. They fell off. Who knows?
Guess what, guys? Claire's eyes weren't whiskey-colored, and her butt wasn't big enough either, so that happened, too.
Her butt did look good, though, in that scene.
It looked great. Her butt looked great. I was super jealous of it for a minute. Because according to my 12-year-old, mine is getting loose. Mom, why is your butt so loose? What kind of adjective? Isn't that the worst adjective you've ever heard? Hey.
That's terrible.
Loose.
I know.
Oh.
Yeah. It's not, by the way. It's perfectly fine.
If she wasn't wearing sweatpants, she would show us.
I might show you anyway. Hold on.
Show us that tartan you're wearing, too. I keep thinking you have, like, a little brooch up here.
It's not. I'm actually wearing my Clan Scotland 100% lamb's wool Fraser hunting tartan. I'm taking the tag off of. I went to Scotland a year ago, And this is what the one thing I have that is anything related to Outlander still looks like. Still got the tags on it. So I just put it on my shoulder. Y'all wouldn't know. But it is Fraser Tartan, since we talked about the Fraser clan so much this episode. Lord love it. Which I don't understand the clans. I don't know how many of Diana's books I've read, and I don't understand why there's a different Fraser clan-ish people. I don't understand who they are.
So it's different than Jamie's Tartan? His Fraser Tartan?
I don't know about that, but it's like he's Fraser of Lovett. Like that's different than a different... I don't know. Who cares? It doesn't matter.
That's some like ancestry DNA situations. I don't know.
It's not something we need to figure out. But please explain it to us, listeners. We'd love to know.
Well, actually,
there's only one. So let's talk about the elephant in the room who showed up in her Salem witch trial bonnet, Leary.
Oh, okay. I saw her name in the captions, and I was like, Logari?
Yeah. Welcome to the book reading experience.
Lord,
we have no idea how to say it.
I am not jealous of you that read the book. No, not at
We
all.
all just call her leg hair or Lahore.
God.
Yeah, no one has ever read the books and come away with Leary. It's something that you don't realize that's what her name is until you get on a forum and there's some lady who's been reading the Outlander books since 1972 and she's like explaining it to you and why that's the pronunciation and you're like, oh, okay. And you still go back and read it as like leg hair.
Yeah.
Got it.
it's Gallic, guys. I mean, come on. You guys don't have your secondary education in that? Secondary degree.
Gallic,
and I don't pretend to.
Yes. Gallic, the language? No.
No. Gaelic, yes, but Gallic, no.
Dang it.
What is the difference? Yeah, but let's talk about her because she's apparently, Kyle, you don't know this, but she is, this is a huge deviation from the books. She's not in the books at this point. This is all new. So let's talk about it. Why is she there?
So she's the jumping the shark moment, whatever, right? That's what people are saying?
Yeah, I see.
Does it matter?
I mean, people who read the books know why she's there, you know? And I think that putting her in this episode kind of they're kind of giving you a wink wink, like she's going to show up again sometime type of, especially her little dramatic line at the end. Yeah, like, come on, can you be more obvious? So.
Yeah, I mean, she's obviously there to move plot forward, and there's a difference between, like, putting her in the show and it not really affecting like characters, like who they are and what they're doing, and then putting her in the show just for no reason. And she's obviously there for a reason. If you didn't have Leary in the second season at all, she didn't show up until later on, which she will. There's going to be people that when she does show up, they're going to go, who? Who is she? We haven't seen her since the witch trial, which was literally 12 episodes ago, 11 or 12 episodes ago, back in season 1. So if we can see her for another 6 episodes, and it's going to be 20 to 25 episodes again before we ever saw Leary, even if you're binge watching, you're going to be, who?
Yeah, see, I did kind of already forget who she was when, like, she first saw her, and I was like, what? And then they're like, you, like, almost made me burn at the stake. I was like, oh, she's the bitch.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it takes a while to, like, recall all of that. Even if you're watching every episode, it's not something that you're going to remember right away. And if we didn't see her at all, it's going to be a long time before she becomes pivotal again. And the watchers need to know who she is and need to care that she's there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a fine addition. Like, did you guys think that it made Claire act out of character? I think that was the big thing. People were like, it makes Claire so, like, not something Claire would do, blah, 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 blah.
I didn't think so. kind of thought that the only thing about it, like I didn't mind the change, but I just thought the dialogue was a little bit weird and not very, I don't know, it just felt strange to me, their dialogue. But I understand why they put her in there, and I don't think that it was jumping the shark. It fit in there fine. You know, it wasn't like, it's not going to ruin anything down the line for me at all. But at the same time, I was like, it wasn't the smoothest like dialogue, and it kind of just seemed a little bit weird. But how many instances in this show have we felt that way about? How many scenes have we felt that way about? So it's like another one of those things. I'm like, oh, it's just a throwaway for me.
Yeah,
Totally. I mean, it didn't. I was just gonna say, like, I didn't know that she wasn't supposed to be there, so it didn't do anything for me. Like, I wasn't like, oh, she's out of place. Like, it didn't matter to anyone who's not a book reader. And it didn't seem super out of character for Claire, because we know she speaks her mind and she's going to tell you what she thinks. So that's what it seemed like she was doing. I agree the dialogue was a little, like, throwaway, like a little stunted, but... I mean,
and the cliche, I pity you, that type of thing. It was like,
it could
have been done better.
Cringed.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but something about Claire, like, telling her about how she was like, I imagined you being like I imagined all the terrible things I would do to you, and dancing on your ashes, and I was like, it felt out of character for me. Because I was like, well, damn, you just got, like, real intense, real quick. And I didn't realize that she'd been thinking that hard about wanting to kill her.
Especially after what she's just been through, like with losing her baby and stuff.
Yeah.
It just felt a little bit insincere, her saying things like that, because she has gone through hell. And at this point, it's like, live and let live, you know, it happened. And I feel like Claire wouldn't be that much of a grudge holder.
No, I feel like that entire like conversation was just her being like, "Oh, me big woman, you small woman." Oh. Like,
yeah.
Would you live and let live someone who almost got you killed and maybe got your friend killed? I mean, that's kind of serious.
I wouldn't live and let live. I wouldn't like describe all of the ways that I thought of torturing them and then killing them.
Yeah,
that's just bad writing. But...
Yeah. It's just that it was a little bit over
the top.
Yeah. And I think, I don't remember who sent it to me, but Diana wrote this whole thing. Of course she did. Wrote this whole long thing about how Anne Kinney, I think, is the one who wrote this episode. Like, originally it was supposed to be Mrs. Fitz and Leary together in this episode, but they couldn't get the actresses there at the same time. And so they had just like half a day to rewrite all of Leary's scenes without Mrs. Fitz. And so you can kind of tell like where things like "I don't hate you, I pity you" come from when the writer has a short amount of time to transfer everything into a new conversation. So I can kind of see how some of that ended up being cheesy or cliched because I think it was done quickly.
And maybe not live or let live, but I feel, but maybe more. I just expected Claire to have a more articulate way of describing the pain that Larry put her through. You know? So, and if it would have been done with better dialogue, maybe it would have been, people would have not even said anything about it. But it was just over the top for me. It was kind of annoying.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was the way it was written, unfortunately. Otherwise, it's fine. I mean, it's fine for her to have a confrontation. It's fine for her to forgive her. It's fine for her to, kind of enlist her in this little plot to get Simon of Lovett to grow some testicles.
I mean, Claire's the one who's like constantly looking past terrible things, like Jack Black, for the greater good of things. And so for her to be so adamant, what did I say, Jack Black?
Yeah.
Black. I'm tired.
Jack Black.
Blackjack. Hey, simple mistake. But she's the one who's constantly like forgiving and like looking for, the end goal of whatever it is but so for her to be so crazy to Leary was kind of like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Claire's motivations for stuff are all over the place sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you just said, she lets things go with Blackjack Randall that no one in their right mind would ever just be like, well, we're going to have to let that go. I mean, she's pushing Mary Hawkins into a sadist lap at some point. So, I mean,
yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. Nope.
Weird.
I'm gonna call him Jack Black all the time.
Jack Black. That would be so funny. Just imagine Blackjack is Jack Black. He's like, that's hilarious. We need to go to Twitter because this is a really awesome tweet from Nicole Richard. She says, "What's worse, bad dialogue or bad voiceovers?" That's what I was yelling at the TV. I was like, "Stop with the voiceovers! I don't care. Stop telling us all of this information."
Yeah, especially the first one. Like we're back in Scotland.
Yes.
Jenny had a baby. We can see all of that.
Yeah.
You just showed deer from Twilight. We know that you're back in Scotland. Like, we get it.
And did you notice that some of that footage was like season 1 footage? I was like, what? This is kind of cheap. Why are they doing this way?
I was that didn't bother me as much, but like I was irritated, like, because here's the thing, they know they have fans that are going to nitpick every little thing, so don't tell us that have Claire tell us that Jenny had a baby while they were in France. Let us just see Jenny with the baby and assume that they've been back in Scotland for like a year.
Yeah.
Because otherwise people are going to be like, she couldn't have had a baby by the time they were in France because she just had a baby when they left for France and Claire was already pregnant and they just came back and they're going to go crazy. So just don't do that. Like, just let us assume that it's been 5 to 6 months since they returned.
See, I had no idea.
So what's the timeline?
I had no clue that it's been that long since they returned to Scotland.
The difference is in the book, her pregnancy doesn't last that long. She loses the baby a lot sooner.
Oh.
Yeah. So then when they do come back, it hasn't been as long. I don't know how it works in the book exactly, except I know she has miscarriage earlier. Oh, she stays in France after the miscarriage for months. Like, Jamie's in prison for months and months. It's not like a few weeks. So anyway, the timeline's totally different in the book. Huh?
Was that what they were trying to portray in the show too? Because I was very surprised when Jamie just popped up with a beard. I was like, whoa.
Right? You're like,
weren't we
all?
all?
Like a week's worth of growth, or like
What
did you just find this like
it was like
a beard?
That's how
You
they
guys
show
weren't
the
here.
passing of time.
Oh.
You guys weren't here last week, but we just did like a rare beard joke. Like, Jamie didn't grow a beard; he just fell into Louise's waxer's trash can. Like we just had like a whole string of beard jokes because it was so bad.
It's awful.
Yeah, it was bad. But yeah, I mean, it was supposed to be a long time. Yeah, it was that bad. But yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be a passage of time, but just don't tell us that. It's the one thing that this show just like doesn't. They are so on the nose with some of those voiceovers that it ruins it. Like, people start thinking it's too much.
I disagree because I need someone to tell me when the heck this stuff is happening. Like, otherwise I'm not so into it that I automatically assume that it's been months or I know what's happening. Like, I go each week and I've forgotten some stuff that's happened last week and I'm like, okay, oh, it's been that long. Okay, cool. You know, like, it's really helpful for me that she's like, oh, we've been here for months now. I was like, oh, okay.
But
or
she didn't
maybe she doesn't need to do the voiceover, but just like, I don't know, like the subtitles, like 6 months later.
Right.
That would be enough.
That would have been great. Like, just a subtitle or something. Like, I mean, it literally could have been, 4 days, or it could have been 2 years. Like, I literally had no idea what it was.
Right. And the thing is it's a historical time. Like, there's a historical moment when the Bonnie Prince Charlie comes back or starts amassing his army in Crieff or wherever they are. So just put the date, like, just do that and see if that is helpful. I don't know. I just think that sometimes that can be, it's too much. Like, what she didn't tell us how long they'd been there. She said Jenny had a baby while we were gone. But that doesn't work with what they've shown us. So you're just like, how did that work? How did Jenny have a baby while you were gone? So maybe it did. It doesn't seem like it did. Because you don't get pregnant right away when you're nursing another baby. That doesn't happen. Even if you're
Some people it does. I know people who have babies that are 10 months apart.
But
Yowzers.
Yeah.
But the second baby was like, it was a newborn. So she's still like incapable of getting pregnant. Like, because for a good 6 to 8 weeks, you're out of business. Like, close.
Shop
I
is
just imagine like a close sign.
That's exactly what it's like. Your OB gives you a little tiny neon sign that flashes. You put it in your underwear every night. And the neon lasts for 6 weeks. And then you go see your OB and she turns the neon back on if it needs to stay closed for a little longer. Or she lets you turn it off for good. That's how it works.
Oh. I wish I had something like that for my bum. When I go out and guys hit on me, I'm like, no, closed for business.
My OB said it's not all healed up.
My OB said I can't. I'm sorry.
My OB was like, no. I loved, since we're talking about babies, I think my favorite scene was Jamie talking to the baby. Maybe.
Pretty sure everyone on Twitter agrees with you. That's all they want to talk about.
It was precious. It was precious. What did you guys think?
Did you see on, I don't know, one of these Outlander groups on Facebook, I think someone put, like, what he was saying in Gaelic, like, let's get swoony over it, but it was real cute. It really was.
It was super cute. He was all about, like, her future and stuff.
We'll always be with
Ready
you.
to be a dad, and now he's not.
I know, that was the sad part. And then the two ladies looking at him over the balcony.
And the thing is like, the one thing that Diana does really, like, super well is discussing stuff like that, like motherhood shit. As the only mother on the panel right now, I'll just tell you, it really, like, it's legit spot on when she's talking about how the things you say to a baby when you're pregnant, and then that's the kind of stuff that the father can't say until it's actually born. Mm-hmm. I had, like, a video of Ryan talking to our firstborn, like, just like that he didn't know it was being taken. It's exactly like that. It's so he was like this 22-year-old, like, young kid. He's just talking to her just like that. It's so adorable. It really happens, y'all. That was for real. And it wasn't even Jamie's kid. He's just an uncle. It's so sad. Damn it, Diana. Why do you have to torture your characters? Why couldn't he have just had a baby that he got to for himself?
Listen, I appreciate the torture on a storytelling level. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, we know Diana loves torture, so
yeah,
on all
especially
levels.
Especially torture of men that she finds attractive.
Yeah, that's a whole other Outlander.
So basically,
the psychologist
is don't be attractive to Diana, and then you won't be tortured.
It's true.
Yeah, probably.
Yep.
Yeah, she's pretty good to some of the other people on the set.
Yeah.
Just
like Dougal? Not Dougal.
No, he's probably a little too hot.
Okay, sure.
A little too hot for Diana. But yeah, that's just it's a great scene, Jenny and Claire, like, together and chatting and connecting and not being adversarial, and so it sets up some good stuff. And I just like seeing him barefooted too. That was nice. Like a barefoot.
All wrapped up in his little tartan. So cute.
His plaid.
Yeah, they were, like, rocking that plaid and tartan all up in this episode.
They were. He had on, like, a jacket.
Yeah, it was like she was wearing it on the horse. It was like, we are not in France anymore. Whoever wrote that terrible episode.
I love when she does the wrap and then the belted thing with it. Mm-hmm. Oh, no. That's a nice look. I like that a lot.
Good one. Good job, Terry.
Good job, Terry and Liz and all your costume people that sew.
Oh gosh.
I'm trying to hold the phone, and I can't because I have this wound. So I'm trying to like look at Twitter, and I can't.
I'm trying to
Wait.
do both. It's not easy.
Jamie Campbell said that the scene with Jamie and the baby did nothing for me. Absolutely nothing. What's wrong
know,
with you?
and she's a mom. What's going on?
Guys.
I mean, it was cute, but it wasn't like... It was nothing like last week for me. I think I was so high emotion last week that this was kind of like, meh, like, it was sweet. It was super sweet, but I wasn't tearing up.
Yeah,
You know,
no tears
all the time.
It felt more bittersweet to me. Like I was watching it going, oh, this is really sad considering the fact they lost a baby. I was like,
Yeah.
So
I like that.
So sad.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Please.
Because I wasn't here last week. Does she get pregnant again in the books?
Well,
is there another time travel thing? Like, does
right?
she time travel back to when she was pregnant and then time travel back to the future and then...
No.
I love hearing people's theories. It's so fun.
I'm so confused.
All my friends who watch and who have no idea, they're like, what's going on? She miscarried, but there's still a baby in like 100 years. Like,
yeah.
We talked about that last week of what we thought of the start of it and
then the little episode, like the scene with the little girl in school,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, what? And I was like, I thought it was the future, but then I realized, like, was it the future? It wasn't the future.
It is the future.
yeah,
Was it the future, or was it her? Because it was her imagination for a second, and I thought she was imagining what her life would have been like. With the kids.
Oh.
But it said Boston, 1954, or whatever, right?
And there was clearly an American flag in the background to let you know.
Very clear American flag.
Okay.
But no, that's really happening, and that's really Claire and Jamie's child. So she does get pregnant again.
Okay.
Well, you don't know
Spoiler
it's Jamie's child. You're just assuming that.
Yeah.
Okay,
The red
listen,
hair.
She has red hair.
If she fucks another redhead, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Like, if she gets by some redheaded rando, like, the show's over.
I'm out. I'm done.
Really
Not that
jumping the
far-fetched.
shark.
Yeah. No, that is Jamie's baby. Yeah, they have another baby. She has a baby. Later. She's pregnant again, I guess. She gets pregnant again, yes.
But I mean, when she goes back to Frank in the first episode, she says, "I'm pregnant."
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not like, and he talks about being pregnant with another man's because he doesn't have the boys that swim.
Right. Which is why I felt comfortable telling you, yes, she gets pregnant again. Told us that she gets pregnant again.
Mm-hmm.
It's just if you're watching this show for the first time and you don't know, when she says she's pregnant in the first thing, you're thinking it's when she tells Jay she's pregnant on the ship when they're leaving France.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's going to be much later on. And so she's pregnant and she goes to Boston with Frank and has that baby.
You know what would be really screwed up? And this may be a total tangent, but if she gets pregnant with Captain Jack Randall's baby, and then she shows back home and it's not Frank's, but it's his grandfather's.
Somehow I think that if Diana would have thought of that, she probably would have wrote that.
If Diana had really thought through the time travel thing, she would have made Claire Frank's great-great-great-great-grandmother, probably.
Yes. Oh, my God. Oh, no.
So gross.
She would have been okay with that.
Can we talk about how many time loop situations are happening right now on TV between Outlander and Game of Thrones now?
Oh, my
Everyone's
gosh.
going around. I don't know what weighs up.
I don't know what. It's one of the things they talk about in this episode is Jamie's like, what, are you giving up on changing the future? And she's like, yeah, it didn't happen. And he's like, yeah, but you've already changed things. Louise is having this baby because of you, and so's alive because of you. And so, I mean, they're constantly moving in the time aspect of things. But, I mean, Claire's Claire's line is her lifeline is her lifeline. So like anything that happens to her is that's just her life. It didn't happen before, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. Game of Thrones is doing a great job at it though right now. Blowing my mind.
Oh.
I don't watch that crap.
That is not crap. You shut your mouth.
It was
I just
bad
haven't
the
watched
last
it in a
two
long time.
seasons, and this season they've made up for it big time. It's been great.
Oh yeah. Every episode you're like, what?
Yep.
I didn't watch last season, and I haven't watched any of this season. So.
Well, this is not Hang of Thrones. This is
Hang of Thrones.
Hang of Thrones.
Oh.
But Hang of Thrones is our next.
Yeah, definitely our next hangout. See you in an hour.
We're like 6 seasons behind.
It's just 6 seasons behind.
So let's talk real quick about like the political Lord Lovett stuff, because I guess said that you fell asleep during this stuff. Like, was it too convoluted? Was it boring? What did you guys think? All the stuff between Lovett and Colum and.
I have no clue what's going on. There'd be scenes where like I would understand the interactions like perfectly. I'd be like, okay, well he has a choice to make, like when he has to sign one or the other, and then Claire's stupid vision happened, and then he's like, all right, well, it's net neutrality thing. Did I say net neutrality? Whoops.
You
You did.
It's okay. I called him Jack Black.
And so like I understood what was happening. The overall concept and what it means and what is going on because of it and the end result, I don't understand.
So you get that like Colum is telling Jaime that there's no way for them to win the uprising because they don't have outside support. So Colum's like, we have to be neutral. So that's what he's going for. Lovett would be on his side if it weren't for the fact that Jaime has a very important piece of Lovett could want and get, and he tries to get it from him by promising his men. So that's kind of like tension is coming from Colum's end of things in this episode. Colum wants to stay out of it, which is why Dougal isn't there, because Dougal, of course, has been drumming up Jacobite support, was trying to drum up Jacobite support all through the first season, and so Dougal has been like, Colum like made Dougal go stay on his estate. He's not allowed to go anywhere because he was fighting for the Jacobite cause, and Colum doesn't want him to.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Okay. Got it.
Some reason I thought all of that stuff with his grandsire happened like in a later book, but I guess it makes sense it happens in this book. They all jumble together for me.
Yeah, I didn't remember Lovett being in this book either.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he is, obviously. But I kind of don't care. Like, I like the idea that it's just like this superstitious old man. Like, I like that he's smart and he's like a war chieftain and he's, you know, all this other stuff. And he obviously has to be somewhat of a Viking or whatever to be Jaime's dad's dad. I like that he was just a different character than what we've seen before. He's a laird, but he's not honorable. He's not, you know, wily, but he's wily in a different way. He doesn't care if people see his failures and things like that. He's got bastards everywhere, and you know, it's just he's just a different character. I think some realism to it that maybe like we don't necessarily see with Colum and Dougal, but their situation is so odd with Colum's like weird German legs and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the most exciting part of the season, but it wasn't. Like, I understood it. I was tired the first time I tried to watch it and I fell asleep. But after I watched it when I was more alert, and I kind of liked it. I thought it was alright, but it wasn't, like, full of excitement or anything.
I feel like they should have, if they wanted this to be more about the politics than it is, and they're, like, getting more into the politics now, I think it's, like, too little too late. Almost, because it's like I'm not invested in the politics of the show whatsoever. Like, the only politics I'm invested in is whether or not Sam survives the Jacobi, like, revolution. You know, like, I don't care about any of these things, and making me care, you're gonna have to introduce that stuff way in the past so that I'm already used to it, and then like, and not like introduce it to me all at once and be like, what?
But I feel like this whole season has been a whole bunch of politics that have kind of been
Yeah,
chess
and that's
games
why
that
it's
are like snore. But at the
and-
same time, you have to know those things to understand the history and what happens.
and then it just sucks that they didn't like, and I know they couldn't have done it in the first season, but like it just sucks that it's like all of this information all like hitting you in one.
That's why it took me 5 months to read this particular book.
I still haven't finished it. I feel
Nikki's
like
been reading it for 3 years.
pretty much I will never get past it. I think also knowing the fact that it still happens, the Jacobite Rebellion still happens, that, okay, you're spending so much time on something that's not going to change. So I guess it's, some of it's interesting, but I don't
Do you know
it's
how
just
many-
boring after a while.
Do you know how many questions on Jeopardy that I've answered correctly because I've read these books?
Somewhere
That's great.
Diana's like, oh, yeah.
I believe it. Yeah. There's a ton of stuff I had no idea about. Like, I'm not, well versed in Scottish history until
You guys might like have the answer to this question, but like, are they setting it up so that Outlander's the type of time travel show where like no matter what you do to change the future, nothing you do is going to be able to change fixed events in time? And so like if that's the case, is like then like this entire thing is like completely pointless, and we're all watching them try to march to their deaths at that point. And like that's what this episode is, and like the past episodes are proving. Like they tried to change the stuff in France, and they tried to do all this stuff, and it's like
I think
not working.
that one of the most clever things that she does is that it's not necessarily I think her point is that history isn't always what you think it is. Like what was told might not be exactly how it happened. Stuff that happens later on in the other books, you think something happened and it's recorded a certain way, and then bam, when Claire's actually living it, it's completely different, and there's explanations to why history was recorded a certain way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I
Mhm.
like that.
Especially because most of, not necessarily our recorded history, stuff that we get from history classes and history textbooks is crap anyway. Especially U.S. history, which is what especially U.S. history. It's all not true. So like,
Yeah.
I mean that makes sense. But I think also one of the things that she does is she's really focused on history in respect to I think I got wrapped on my she talks about it like the way that it relates to them. Like the Battle of Culloden is going to happen, and they're going to lose. We found that out in the first season. Like that was Claire's big thing. Did it happen? Who won the Battle of Culloden? And he's like the British. And so it still happened. It still happened the way that she thought it was always going to. But the point of in Claire and Jamie's story is how did those events actually affect the characters that we care about, and not necessarily like whether or not they're fixed events or not, but whether or not Claire and Jamie had any part in those events and how they affected them. So that's kind of the difference. I don't think that they're ever really going to change anything, but you're also not really going to know where they're going to pop up in something that happens.
Because it's kind of like Claire has always been destined to live this life no matter what. Like,
Yeah.
it's just one reality that she went back in time.
Oh God,
Like-
time travel.
Yeah. Like potentially Claire could have in 1940 when she was like in college or whatever, if she went to college, could have found documents with her name on them
Yeah.
from the 18th century.
And that, yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like they'd already existed because it had happened even though she hadn't lived it yet.
And stuff like that, like, does happen, like, in later books. So,
So that's kind of.
kind of. Well, you haven't read, have you read the last few books?
I haven't read any of them, so that's
Yeah.
all. I don't know really anything
Is the
about
series
time travel
done?
aspect of it.
No,
No.
she's still writing.
No.
Oh Jesus.
I wish she would have stopped writing after this last one because I loved the last one. The last one, I thought it wrapped up the entire series so beautifully, and then she started writing another one. So
She's got to do it.
Why? Do you understand how much of my life this has taken up? Stop
Right.
writing. I want to be done and at peace.
I just can't. Like, I can't keep reading her books. There's so much else out there. Like, I love it. I love Jamie and Claire, but like.
Well, that's why it took me like 2 years to get through all of them, because I read other stuff while I was reading them. So.
Yeah, she's gonna have to do something really great to pull me back in.
But the last one is so good, Beth. Like, it makes me sad that you haven't read it. Like, I cried so much in that book. It's so good.
I kind of don't care. Like she tortures them so much.
I know.
Happens to them that like I want them to live happy in their house for forever, and I don't want it to get worse than it was. The end of, I think, Fiery Cross is the last one I read. I was happy with the ending. Like, I'm okay with what's going on with them in that moment, and I'm done. Like, I don't need to read anymore.
Yeah.
And they lived happily ever after in my mind. I don't care what else happened.
I just like the extra characters. I thought I was going to hate all the extra characters when I was reading them. I was like, I don't care about Brianna and Roger. I don't care about, Fergus and his wife, Marcelli. But then I came to love them, and they were my favorite parts of the book, and I could care less about Jamie and Claire.
Oh.
So let's pull this back to the TV show. Like, would you care? Everyone's talking about season 3, which I think just is a formality at this point that they're going to announce that season 3 is greenlighted. So, how far down the road do you see this show going? Like, Kyle, you haven't read the books, but so far there are eight. She's writing book 9 right now, and there are extra books and novellas too. So, but like, there's 9 books in the main canon.
Series.
So, yeah. So, like, how long do you think this show will last?
Not 8 seasons. I don't think that.
If every book was like thrilling and amazing and had all of this information, it could go for a while. But don't they have Jamie and Claire as like old people? Like, how would that work?
Well, they're like in their 50s.
Yeah, still.
Look at Kyle's face.
I'm so confused.
Well, in the books, there's more, like, there's other people that they focus on, like, and there's huge chunks.
Are you telling me that the story goes on until they're 50 years old?
They're over
Beyond.
50. Beyond. Yeah, but I mean, there's whole, like, chunks of, like, half of the book is somebody else.
No, HBO, do me a favor. Cut the story off before he gets to, like, 40.
Hey, he's still like, he's still rocking her world at, like...
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No, I'm not interested in a show with a 50-year-old Jamie.
You're telling me that there's no 50-year-old hotties out there. There's no...
Have you ever seen...
God.
Hello?
No.
Have you ever seen John Stamos?
Ew.
What?
God.
He's 50? He's hot.
Brad Pitt is over 50.
No, when I was at a gay bar, this like really old guy kissed me once, and it was like the most disgusting feeling in the world. And now it's just all old men. I'm like, nope.
Wait, but how old are you, Kyle?
I'm 25.
Okay, he's a baby. That's why he doesn't like John Stamos.
No, I don't like John Stamos, and I'm not a baby. I'm the oldest person out in here. But I tell you right now, like, if you were 50, a 50-year-old guy would not be gross.
Yeah.
So
Well,
they're the same age.
Yeah.
Also,
I was going to say, I think it's just a case of Diana wanting to write about people her own age, and that she feels like that life is still worth telling, which it is. I'm sure it is. But
and the older women
don't want to read it.
And the older women who read it, they love it. Like, she's just catering to her audience, Like, they want to hear about somebody their own age still getting it on. Yeah. So, she knows her audience.
She does. I'm trying so hard not to say anything offensive. Look at my face. I'm smiling so
Good luck,
much.
stars with the prosthetics, the 50-year-old prosthetics.
I mean, come on. He's covered in scars already. He's supposed to be 23. He doesn't look it. He's 30 IRL, so he doesn't look 23.
He's supposed to be 23.
He's supposed to be like 23 years old, and
Oh,
he's
wow.
not. He's 36.
All right.
Holy
Wow.
crap. Well, it's going to be easier for them to transition into those older years.
Okay, listen, hold on. I need to make a formal apology to anyone. Anyone who's like 15 or like older, like it's just like it's not you, it's me. Okay.
And I would like to publicly state that I should be your favorite for defending the older generation.
All we're gonna get there. We're all gonna get there, and we're all gonna get there at the same rate.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be fine.
But here, okay, back to the original thing that we're talking about. It might be able to work for longer than if you, like, they might be able to mesh some of the books together and kind of get through it that way instead of having, because there's some parts of these books that are, you know, like 100 pages, 200 pages about the kind of rifle they're using. You know what I mean? If they can cut that down a little bit, edit that kind of crap out, then I think that they could probably mesh some of these later books together.
Yeah.
Agreed.
They could also do with, like, Game of Thrones, they're kind of just taking the framework and having to do a little bit of their own creation. I don't know how Diana's fans would take that.
Yeah,
but
Game of Thrones fans are kind of used to it, and Diana's fans would not like that at all. And Diana, can you imagine how she would feel about it?
How she,
like,
what she would think.
If she thought that this was jumping the shark.
Yeah,
like,
this
come on.
Like I said, this was actually one of the best episodes. It's definitely the best episode this season of feeling like the books, but it was the most off-book episode we've seen so far. So I feel like if the show would take that aspect of it and really run with it and stop trying to fit so much of the book in every episode, it would improve dramatically.
Totally.
Because it needs to stand on its own. They really need to get away even more, I think, from the very strict book adaptation feel that they've had so far. So I really, really loved this episode. I feel like that's the most unpopular opinion so far. But it really worked for me. It worked as TV. It felt like Jamie. It felt like Claire. I was so happy they were back in Scotland. You know, and it did not feel like they did anything that changed who Jamie and Claire are, or what's going to happen in the books. And, you know, if you don't feel that way, I get it. They've done other things that I've hated. I really hated that Frank went down on Claire. Very first episode. First scene. I hated that.
That's a big deal in the book.
It was a big deal. Like, that was a big deal because for me, Frank never did that, and that was something that she experienced for the first time with Jamie. It just stayed that way. But you know what? Like, if now I don't feel that way. Like, I hated it then because it was the first time I was seeing Outlander and I wanted things to be just like they how now I'm kind of like, okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter. But I think that's where some book fans still are, where like every little thing matters a whole lot, and it doesn't. Y'all are good. It's okay. It just needs to be good TV.
I agree. I think that this is one of the strongest written episode, with the exception of, you know, what we already talked about with Claire and Larry. But, I think it was probably, last week was my favorite because it was the most, she acted it so beautifully.
I love last week.
And I thought the first episode was great, and then this episode probably.
If she does not get an Emmy for that performance last week, I'm just going to throw something at someone.
Do you really feel that way? Like, you really feel that she deserves the Emmy over like, other people and other shows that you love?
No.
Okay, no, I feel Tatiana Maslany deserves the Emmy first and foremost.
Yes.
And then maybe her.
She can have the backup Emmy.
Yeah, I feel like it's Tatiana for 100%. And then I think it's Eva Green for Penny Dreadful.
Oh, Eva Green, yes.
And then Katrina.
Yeah. Okay,
so if there was like a gold, silver, and bronze, that would be gold, silver, and bronze.
When you said backup Emmy, I imagined the statue of the Emmy backing up, like.
The Emmy would have a good.
Happens.
Okay.
Good thrust pattern. We've had the best tweets of thrust patterns so far. Please keep tweeting those.
Oh my god, I love the NSYNC GIF. So good.
Somebody get Thrusting Theo on there. Somebody's bound to have Thrusting Theo.
We have it for sure.
Yeah, we do. Well, that's it for this Outlander, you guys. It was a good episode. If you didn't like it, that's okay. But it was good.
I liked
week
it.
will be
That's all that matters.
next week will be weird, so be prepared. I think there's going to be flashbacks next week, lots of them.
Really?
I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more time weirdness next week. So
What
we'll see
if
how that
if next week is really the jumping the shark episode and we've all been riled up about this for nothing?
Well, then the joke's on us.
Ha!
I have one last question.
Okay.
Sorry, that wasn't on here for last week. Am I gonna get a gay scene that's not rape?
Mm.
Am I?
Oh my God, seriously.
I don't think so.
You will get, let's see, you'll get a gator who's not a rapist.
Okay, that's all I need. That's all I need.
But
I
he's
mean,
also
that's-
not like openly out.
Well, it's the 18th century.
Well, yeah.
That,
So I feel like
makes
that's,
it
I feel like,
better.
yeah, I feel like that's like a terrible concession, and I wish that this show had better representation across the board, not just
Yeah.
LGBT, but
It
people of
really
color.
kind of makes me uncomfortable that like the only LGBT representation they've shown has been rape.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not he's a sadist.
Oh, I know,
No,
I
it's
know,
not
but
like-
I feel like they I don't know. It just makes me uncomfortable that that's like all this fandom
Right.
is seeing right now.
Well,
Is-
Well, all the
that's-
rape makes me feel uncomfortable.
Well,
Yes.
that's one of the things that the show adaptation could do. Like, they were in Paris for 7 episodes, and they were in brothels for a lot of that time. They could have made those brothels more inclusive in certain
Yeah.
ways. Might have been, you know what I mean? Like, there could have, even if it was
just
just
really
background
subtle
characters.
things, yeah.
Yeah, they could have made Bonnie Prince Charlie bisexual, and I mean, there's just a lot of things that they could have done if they wanted to be, including some of that stuff going on. It's not in the book or whatever, but they know it's problematic in that way. There's 0 people of color in this entire show, and that's problematic. Like, do they have to stick with the way it would be historically, or do they not? So it's, your fave is problematic, so it sucks that they did better. And I wish that the gay character that we were getting was more prominent. But he'll be in it soon.
Okay.
And he's a great character. He really, really is. And he's all
right.
angsty, and it's
I'm excited.
it's good.
I'm ready
It's
to
good.
change my profile picture to him on every social media site.
For them to cast him. I haven't cast him yet, and I can't wait. So it'll be a good time.
Cuckoo.
Hey guys, we're
Okay.
out. Next week, we'll be back on Mondays next week. June the 6th, I think, is the date. So it'll be episode 209. So we will see you guys then, same time, on Monday night next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.